Hey y'all, this is Cheryl and thanks for joining me for another digital scrapbooking process video. I'm going to be scrapping some photos from a trip that I took to Utah last year for a scrapbooking convention in Sandy, and I'm going to be using that kit, a Scream and Shout. That's a kit that's retired from Sweet Shop, but it was perfect for these photos. And I started out with 2 close-ups of the yogurt and strawberries that I got at this airport kiosk little restaurant, and in between is the photo of me wearing the little fascinator hat. That was part of team decorations for Lena's team, and I was with her at the airport. Now, I didn't have a photo of me and her, of all things, but we had gone to the convention, and then on Sunday we actually had a day off, and we went into Salt Lake with some friends and went to the temple there and saw the grounds and everything. And we had some friends who are Mormon that were kind enough to show us the grounds in the area. It was absolutely gorgeous. And afterwards, they got us to the airport, and we had quite a while to wait that evening. Both of us had red-eye flights that we were taking, so we ended up popping over and having a bite to eat, and right next to where we ate was this little yogurt shop called Pinkberry that I had never eaten at before. And I don't know, it just looked really cool and refreshing, and it was so good. The strawberry yogurt was just, it tasted like ice cream, not yogurt. And the strawberries were just fresh and perfect and very flavorful. And it was a nice, comforting kind of food to have. You know, when you're waiting in the airport, it's so boring sometimes. It wasn't boring with Lena, she cracks me up, but and if you don't know, the Lena that I'm referring to is Lena of Bella Gypsy Designs. She sells at the Lily Pad where I sell my template designs, Bill DD designs. So we were both out out there for the convention. Yeah. So, excuse me. She's quite a character, and it always makes me laugh. So what I've done here is I've started off with a dotted paper. As you can see, I've added a little paint onto the upper left, and then I've added some on the lower right, and I do end up moving it around some. You'll see that happen. And I'm just starting to build up my clusters at this point because I have the 3 photos, which I've tended towards doing that in my page composition lately. So I don't know why, but I really like the way it looks. But this time I put it at a slight angle just to give some more visual interest to the page. But then to pull everything together, I made a cluster with that journal card. And you can see right now I'm decreasing the size of that because I just felt like it was competing too much with the rectangles of the photos, and I really wanted it to just be part of a cluster. So I'm adding that cute little bottle cap. And of course, I had to have the little speech bubble that said yummy, because it definitely was. Even though in my face, I look like not happy with my little hat on, I was quite happy in the picture. So I'm adding this little braided cord up to the top. I like the little tassel edges that are just kind of peeking out there. And now this video isn't sped up at all. I happened to be watching a YouTube video myself when I was making my layout, so I didn't turn on my narration recording until I was starting to pull the video together. So it's a voiceover, but it's voiceover in regular time. And I just kept it that way because the total layout took about 12 minutes, I think. 10 to 12 minutes. So I didn't feel like it was worth it to speed it up. So I'm just adding that. I'm going to add that work strip down to the bottom. And you can see I did add a little bit more paint, or pulled paint down in that top left corner, so it shows up underneath the photos a little bit. Now I really wanted to add this washi tape, but it just was not obviously showing up on the dotted background because that's exactly what it looks like. So I just nixed that. And then just adding a few bits and pieces that liked that really bright pink. I felt like it was pulling out some of the color from the strawberries. And then a little light pink that kind of works well with the little fascinator hat I have on. So I like the pinks and the purples that are mixing on the page. And if you can hear that banging sound in the background, I'm very sorry. I am in the middle of doing laundry. I'm trying to catch up on laundry. And the laundry room happens to be right next to the den where my computer setup is. And I don't know what's in there that's making the big banging noise. It must be a buckle or something on a pair of pants, something. So, you know, you scrap, you do laundry, you take a break, come back. I don't know, does anybody else do that? I always feel like I can reward myself with scrapping if I make sure that I do little chores. And in fact, I used to set a timer for like 15 minutes, and I would give myself, I would have to do chores for 15 minutes. So whatever I could complete in the 15-minute time slot, then when the timer went off, I was done. And then I would give myself 30 minutes of playtime. And yes, I know that's not equal, but I did find after I had been doing it for a while that I could get quite a bit done in that 15 minutes, especially if I was focused and determined to have my playtime. And I just didn't have a lot to have to clean up. And I probably need to institute that again because I really need to do some dusting. So, now that I've rambled on about things that have nothing to do with this layout, right now you're going to see me actually doing some copying and pasting of alpha. And I really liked what it said on the little card on the bottom, the nom nom. And I'm just going to use the alpha that came in the kit to duplicate that. So it's going to take me a few minutes to do that. And I'm just using my rectangular marquee tool, and then I'm pressing Control C to copy that, and then going over to my layout and pressing Control V to actually paste that letter. And there are a variety of different ways that you can do this. That's just the way I like to do it because I like to spell out everything and the letters be in order so that when I'm actually pulling them apart, you know, because they come into the stack there. And then I didn't want to have to spell nom again since it was already there, so I just duplicated it. And you can see I'm starting to pull the title words apart. And I think this is the last thing I do in the layout. That's on film anyway, because I do my journaling and dating and that kind of thing separately. So I'm just pulling these letters a little bit closer together. And then I'm going to use my tools to align along the bottom. And I'm just going to reduce the size just a little bit. Okay. So you're going to see the completed layout coming up here, and it will have my journaling and everything on it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Of course, if you like, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to share. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe so you don't miss videos, I'd love that. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.